Headed into the 2024 NBA playoffs, Knicks fans actually had good reason to be optimistic about their team's championship chances. Finally, after years of failed attempts, the Knicks had managed to put together a legitimate championship-caliber roster and now had their best chance to make the finals in a very long time. Ultimately, however, the team's hopes of a long-overdue ring were crushed because of injury.
We think this is where Jalen Brunson, the left hand coming down, hitting the knee of Halliburton, where we think that that's perhaps where the fractured hand happened.
Still, the Knicks had managed to put themselves in a perfect position for success in the coming years with the right mix of veteran talent, athletic youth, and, as of yet, unrealized potential. Prior to the arrival and subsequent emergence of Jalen Brunson in July 2022, the Knicks had been struggling for years, so much so that they were often the punchline for jokes from the basketball community, like when Richard Jefferson triggered a strange public feud between the former player and the entire franchise back in the late 2010s. Jefferson first joined the NBA in 2001 when he was taken with the 13th pick in that year's draft by the Rockets before being traded to the Nets. All up, Jefferson played for the Nets from between 2001 and 2008 before he was traded to the Bucks in June 2008. From there, Jefferson became a journeyman representing a variety of teams up until his retirement in October 2018, after which he turned his attention to broadcasting. Ultimately, despite playing for numerous teams, getting a ring in 2016 while with the Cavs, and still performing at a high level even in his later seasons, Jefferson's best years were well and truly while with the Nets.
Down to 5. Here comes Jefferson. He's to the rim, and he scores!
And it was because of his time with the team and the ongoing rivalry between the Nets and the Knicks that led Jefferson to make a joke at the expense of the Knicks while working as a commentator during a game between the two teams in November 2019. At one point in the contest, Jefferson stated that he knew it was time to retire after 17 seasons when the only team that offered him a contract as a free agent during the 2018 offseason was the Knicks.
I refuse to play for the Knicks. Like Jason Kidd and Kenny Martin, they don't really care. Me, I was the one person that said, Knicks, no, I'll retire. That's why I retired. They were the one team that offered me a job, and I decided to retire.
Is this a true story?
It's true. I decided to retire.
Wow, how about that?
It was true.
Understandably, Jefferson's comments generated significant publicity, especially because it sounded plausible that even someone who was both willing and able to play in the NBA would rather retire than put on a Knicks jersey. Less predictable was the Knicks' response. Rather than simply ignore Jefferson's comments, the Knicks PR team hit back, stating that they had never offered him a contract. A couple of hours later, Jefferson clarified that, like many basketball fans had already assumed, he'd been joking about the contract offer. Given that Jefferson's last season in the league with the Nuggets consisted of just 20 games for which he averaged around 8 minutes of play and less than 2 points, there was little chance that the Knicks even entertained the idea of adding Jefferson, let alone actually contacted his agent and made an official offer. So, predictably, although the Knicks got plenty of attention due to Jefferson's joke, the fact that they felt the need to refute his on-air comments only led to far more negative attention in the form of jokes at the expense of the franchise. And the timing couldn't have been much worse for the team. In July 2019, although the Knicks had hoped to sign Kevin Durant, the free agent instead joined the Nets. Later, in October that year, just a month before Jefferson's comments, Durant explained that the Knicks no longer appealed to younger players because the players were too young to remember a time when the Knicks were actually good. So, basically, with the combination of Durant and Jefferson's respective comments about the Knicks, it looked like the once great franchise was now considered irrelevant by young and old alike. And the fact that the team thought that clapping back at Jefferson was a good idea only served to illustrate that the franchise were even more out of touch with the broader basketball community, and that, as both Durant and Jefferson had pointed out, they were as irrelevant as ever, due almost entirely to their lack of self-awareness or a sense of humor about themselves. Though that's nothing new for Knicks officials.
I troll my best friends, right? Like, we make fun of each other. It's okay to still have a sense of humor, even if you're kind of kicking somebody a little bit while they're down, right? It's okay. It's just have fun.
Wow, how about that?
It was true.